There you go. Hey, what? Hey, what? Hey. Put your hands in the sky if you're feeling the vibe. This is the poet will be televised. Keep your hand in the sky if you're feeling the vibe. Welcome to the poet, it will be televised. We always tell the truth, we never telling lies. Then goes my friend Sharaya and she's hella fly. Then goes my girlfriend and she's hella cute. That's the words work, I'm just here, I'm telling you. Whatever you feel in your heart, come on stage and just let it out. If you got it in your soul, go and shout. Put your hands up high if you're feeling the vibe. This is the poet will be televised. I'll keep your hands up high if you're feeling the vibe. This is the poet will be televised. Put your hands down. You ain't gotta keep them up, cause I know that shit is tough. My name is Baxter, and I'm about to go and I go fish out. I move around blocks like Monopoly. If the goal is property, y'all can have it, honestly, it's not for me. All I own is soccer ball. He can eat with Socrates. He defends the goal in life to roundabout philosophy. Possibly, I'ma try angles like Isosceles. Policy is dead to me, but all like autonomy. Let them in your mind. Watch them with that switch like lobotomy. Then they in your ass like sodomy. Gotta be a better way. Wait, let me concentrate. You can slow in my melon, let my brain oscillate. Most of y'all ain't feeling me. I don't feel no kind of way. Or can I get out the sides where I seem to isolate? No man is an island, but I see what they're trying to say. I come around once in a while like the ice capade. I say what I need to say, then I can skate. You better get it while it's here like an ice cream cake. Holla, it's your birthday. It's not your birthday. You wanna treat it like your last day and special like a first date. When I was young, pray for fame in the worst way. Now if it's a Wednesday, pray I see you Thursday. If I see you Friday, I pray that I'll be worthy. Some classmates get sent home early. Never seen a research. No, it's never hesitate. Put your hands up high if you're feeling the vibe. This is the poet will be televised. But put your hands down. You ain't gotta keep them up, cause I know that shit is rough. Hey, put your hands to your side if you're feeling the vibe. This is the poet will be televised. Put your hands to your side if you're feeling the vibe. This is the poet will be televised. Woo! I just want to do that real quick.
All right, welcome to the Poet Podcast. Yay! I'm your host, Dale Novella, and it is 2021. Who knew we want to have flying cars this year? But you know, fuck it, we're here. The Poet Podcast is a podcast dedicating to celebrating artistic minds and political thought and good music and good poetry. All that has been recorded at The Poet Will Be Televised, New York's Poetry Jam session that has been running for 7 years. Once again, I'm your host, Dale Novella, and we are on Sky's Crescent Radio, and we are sponsored by Funkadelic Studios. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and so on and so forth. Today, I have with me a beautiful panel of beautiful people. Like, I would do something different. Usually, I start with my husband, but I'm not going to start with my husband this time. I'm going to start with my friend Jade. Yeah. So Jade is a wonderful guitarist. She is a composer. She is the founder of Sky's Crescent Radio. She is the they say the conductor of the train walkers. She is a student right now at Baruch College. Baruch. Thank you for having us, Jade. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. I'm awake. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
What do you have going on that you're excited about?
In the new year?
Yeah, in the new year, today, tomorrow.
Well, I'm releasing everything I've ever written this year. And I'm starting from when I was 14 and I wrote my first song. And that should be dropping anytime now when it feels like it. Yeah, so every Friday, look out for new music from me. It's already out. It's already recorded. It's on its way.
Cool. Yeah. And are you dropping it under Jade Zabrick?
Oh, yeah, I'm not. I'm dropping it under Amanda Jade, which is my actual name that my parents gave me.
Oh.
Yeah. Amanda is actually my name. And I'm just trying it out, see what's gonna happen. I think what I'm gonna do is after I put out these like a whole bunch of albums, I separated it by what age I am. There's gonna be like a whole bunch of years. I'm not putting out my age until we're at the current time. But then I'm gonna drop it all in one album under Jay Zabert. So there's gonna be like one huge 100-song album. I think you can do that, can you?
Do whatever you want.
Yeah,
You
why not?
can, yeah.
And let's see what happens.
Sweet. So, did you get a haircut recently?
Oh, I cut my own hair. No,
Was
but
it with a butcher
since
knife?
You saw me last. Not since you saw me last. No, I did with some scissors, and I did a really good job. I just want to say my hair is super straight. So I don't know. I'm not good at cutting hair. I just hear that it's hard. I've never tried, and
Yeah.
it was easy. I just want to say I just went and
Two
da-da.
ponytails.
Two ponytails. I don't know. I still have them. I'm
I
gonna
still
patch
have
them
my
later.
locks. I tried to donate my locks, but like the company I tried to donate them to never hit me back up. It's hard to donate locks. Hey, thank you for having us and thank you for being here on camera and on mic.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the next person with a haircut. He is the host of The Poet Will Be Televised. He is the host of End of the Week, like the opposite of strong. So end of those people. He is a phenomenal freestyle rapper. He is a part-time comedian, full-time fool. And he's my good friend Baxter Wordsworth. How are you doing today, Baxter Wordsworth?
I'm doing fine, Dale. Thanks for asking. Part-time comedian, full-time philosopher.
Oh,
Hey,
hey, my bad.
um,
I didn't say the rest of the word.
that's all right. But yeah,
What do you have going on? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about 2021. It's coming up. I've got a birthday in about a month. That's always a celebration. I am hosting so many things. I'm hosting The Poet Will Be Televised, as you mentioned, hosting EO Dub. I'm also hosting another podcast called So Boom with Dom Manils, and a bunch of other wonderful programs going on in EO Zoom. Yeah, so I'm excited about those.
So what do y'all do on So Boom?
We talk about the current events of the world, and then we have a part of the show called Destructive Criticism, where we give people the realest, most honest critique about their music that we possibly can.
In their face.
If they want to show up to the Zoom. Yeah, the people submit their music. They can come and get it live in the front row, or they can watch it on Facebook or YouTube or something like that. But
So
yeah,
what is the significance of the phrase So Boom?
it's very New York. It's just how you start a story. You know what I'm saying? You're talking to somebody, you're like, so boom, this is what happened, right?
And you have to
that's
clap too, right?
Right. You have to clap. It's a clap, and you got to bring it close. You got to be like, so boom, right? And it lets people know that this is going to be an exciting story.
Yeah. Have you ever heard a story after someone said So Boom that was just like, it was not exciting?
Nah, never. But there's probably some that are bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just because somebody so boom don't mean they're gonna tell you the truth. Because it might be an so boom followed by a what happened was, and what happened was is never the truth.
Yeah, that's true. But what had happened was.
You're right. What had happened? What had happened was
what? Yeah, if someone's like, what happened was, that might be true.
Nah,
Maybe.
I don't trust it. I do not trust it. Like if you gotta preface that what you're telling me is what happened, then it's probably not what happened. It's like when somebody says they're a nice guy, you know what I'm saying? If you just tell me, hey, I just came from the store, you don't have to say what happened was I just came from the store, because now it's like you want me to believe. You know what I'm saying? Can't trust it.
Well, thank you for that sage piece of advice, and thank you for being here. Thank you for hosting The Poet Will Be Televised. And thank you for bringing your Rick Ross beard.
Hey, pears.
So this next person, I've taken, a long time to really get to know him. It's been a beautiful 5-year journey. Has beautiful caramel skin. He helps little brown and black children be the best they can be. Is the former director of education at Urban Word NYC, and the current is that their name? Sorry.
No, it's director of programming. There's no director of education. But that's
Director
okay.
of Programming.
I was technically that too, but I didn't have that title.
Okay. So, Director of Programming at Urban Word NYC, former. Currently, the Programming Manager for Arts and Social Justice Programming at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. Also, a curator of the brilliant show Word Sound Power and Get Up Stand Up. Also, co-producer. What is your title with Dance Africa? You just in there. You black.
This is why I literally love my wife. My wife be getting titles half wrong, giving me titles. Oh God, it's good. I know nothing to do with Dance Africa. Shouts out to.
No, you do stuff with Dance Africa.
I just run the memorial room. There's no title in that. That's just.
They were like, we got to give the black guy a role.
Pretty much, yeah.
The black guy got a role. He knows about the spirituality. He can be in a spiritual room.
There's no title to managing the memorial room. That's not a title.
Whatever. I'm giving you a title today. He's a manager of the memorial room at Dance Africa. At the Dance Africa Bazaar. He is a music historian, part-time music therapist through hip hop and spoken word. And his name is Mikal Amin Lee, formerly Hired Gun. How you doing? Oh, world traveler. I forgot.
When we could travel around the world.
When we could travel around the world.
Although some people are still doing it, but
that's true.
I'm good. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. What are you excited about?
I'm excited about some of the music I'm doing right now. I'm not going to give too much details, but COVID was a weird time. It is a weird time, so it's not over. So just working on some music. Added a couple titles to the thing. I'm also a senior editor working primarily with education in an academic journal, Word Speaks of Life, based out of DC. Shout out to Mazi, Mustafa, and just trying to keep living. That's what I'm excited about. We're kind of traversing this whole COVID thing, so it's cool.
Well, thank you for being here, traversing over this way.
Thank you. So now we also have our host.
There's I get one too.
You always get. This is like the running joke of this show. She always tries to scamper off into like the background. So the Dundada of this, going on 6+ years, producer, actual music therapist, yogi, engineers, plays 3 instruments, singer, interior home decorator, part-time
on The Sims.
Yeah, but I mean, we do. Our apartment's a little disarray right now, but like the ambiance and the feng shui of it all is all her. I just live here. Part-time cat whisperer and rescue pet advocate, Miss Dale Novella. How are you? What are you excited about in 2021?
Well, I'm good today. Thank you for asking. And I'm excited about the Poet Podcast. I'm excited about the Poet Will Be Televised and all the goodies that I hope will come out into the world from those brands. I'm excited to try to figure out, pushing my music more. I've been writing with Writing Sessions America. So meeting up with singer-songwriters from across the country and writing songs together, producing for them and stuff, or co-producing. I just telling Jade that I'm going to get back into playing my instruments. I have melodics on my computer, so I'm working on piano. So just becoming a better musician, singer, songwriter, music and yogi therapist person. Yeah. And cat mom, better cat mom. I think I'm doing okay there. He's still alive. Yeah. So thank you. Yay! The Poet Podcast! So, real quick before we get into our first episode, I would like to know each of your definition of transition.
Can I go first? Because this is gonna be very easy.
Yes.
I don't want anyone else to take my answer. No, it just means to
That's not transition.
I really thought something was wrong with his internet. I was like, oh no, he's
Oh.
frozen.
Oh, wait, or was
Am I
it?
back?
Yeah, no, there was
You were
something
just-
wrong with him.
Yeah, it was just like it was like a
I
DJ
don't know, is he
pressing
playing-
their loop over and over again. Like
Wait, are we-
it was like
This is why
it's
Zoom is wild. I thought he was
da.
playing a joke, and it was never mind. That was wild. That was crazy.
Because like Baxter's silly. He doing that on purpose.
I did, we're dead ass. I was like, oh, this guy's got a joke.
Meanwhile, I'm having a seizure. No,
Oh no, that would be terrifying.
did you hear what I said about transition? Because
No.
No, not at
it
all.
was such
We
a
just
mo-
heard it's the.
Yeah.
It
We're
was
about to
such a
start
moving
like
explanation. Get it? Moving
Yeah.
explanation. Nah, I just said it just means the progress to be in one place and make the move to another place.
yes. Thank you for that.
Transition to change. And this wasn't on the guide.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Switching it up.
She freestyling.
just
She
changing it.
freestyling, y'all.
Transitioning. There you go.
Thank you, Jade. Macau.
In the simplest sense, transition is yes to move from one state to another.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with all of those answers. And let's transition into our first video with Timothy Dwight and existentialism.
During a discussion about existentialism, our professor explains to us that all true intellectuals must understand that meaning is always subjective. It is simply a matter of who wins the majority of vote. For example, this is only a hand because enough mouths spoke it into existence. So, a while back I decided I try to be my own self-determining agent of authenticity. So this is not a hand. Nah. See, this is a hoobaloo. I occasionally pick shit up with it. Here, pass me the ball. Watch me catch it with my hoobaloos. This is meaning for me. It is mine. I made it. I'm not asking you for yours yet. What does it matter without the majority's approval? For the last few years, I've been attempting to define my own meaning for joy. The dictionary says that joy is a state of happiness or felicity, yet that always felt so limiting. If joy truly only shows up when I am happy, then it does not deserve me. No, I want my definition of joy to be bigger than that. The day I was diagnosed HIV positive, I showered my body in this world's definition of sorrow. I was supposed to be sad. Every mouth around me spoke it into existence. Tim, you're only 21. Tim, you have only loved once. Tim, you must truly hate him. But see, today I am 27, y'all. Just as alive as before, only difference is now a college graduate with enough intellect to understand that meaning is always subjective, so I'll tell you what joy is. Joy is a year and a half later after my diagnosis. It is me calling my ex, calling my first love and telling him that I forgive him for everything. Joy is me unblocking his phone number. Me listening to the year he has had, the struggles he has been forced to go through. Joy is me no longer being afraid to admit that I still love the man that gave me a terminal illness. And though the majority of you may not approve of this, well, that is okay, because this is joy for me. It is mine. I made it. I made it. I made it. And I am not asking you for yours.
All right, that was Timothy Dwight, an amazing spoken word artist, also a good friend of the family. of the Poet family. I forget what month that was, but he was a feature at the Poet will be televised, and he was amazing at our run in Savannah. And he's talking about his relationship to the disease he is living with, HIV, and his relationship to the person who gave it to him. And how that transitioned over time and changed over time. And we've had some really strange relationships with a certain disease or virus in 2020. And I wanted to know, like, how has your relationship with COVID, whatever it has been, how has that affected your own physical health and how you see your physical health? Mikhail didn't read the questions. I actually sent them out.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? I did. I'm sitting there. I looked at them. I'm looking at them right now. What are you talking about?
Okay, sorry.
He's just giving his emotion.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, Jade. I was just like, it's heavy because I'm thinking about the fact that like there's so many things about my physical health that I've noticed in terms of just the fact of being sedentary. Mostly actually, really, if I'm honest, it's mostly mental and emotional more than physical. I mean, I pretty much work out 5 days a week on some level, so I'm active. But it's been more about the physical being kind of in the same place. So the sedentary is not only just the fact of being like physically stationary for large periods of time. When I was in my office, I would often get up from my desk and move around, go to different floors. But when you live in a studio apartment and everything outside is potentially toxic, you're less likely to sort of move outside of that space unless it's absolutely necessary. But then I also think about from a physical standpoint, I don't really kind of feel and see the sun as often as I did. I don't get to actually see other locations and locales. Physical touch is something that obviously I have a wife and I love her very much. But handshakes, hugs from friends, those types of things. So that's definitely affected as much my emotional and mental state as much as my physical. I probably eat more than I did simply because I'm just here. Definitely drink more.
Yeah, the first few months of quarantine, we drank a lot. We were kind of treating it like a vacation a little bit, and had to slow down because we were like, oh, this is gonna be a while.
Yeah, so absolutely. I think all of this is kind of, and it's not even just the physical isolation for me, it's just the reality of, and I was talking to a friend, we're watching the world shift, and we always are, obviously, but like in such a drastic, dramatic way. It's like 9/11, it's like the Iraq wars. You're seeing massively historic moments, and you are front row center. You are completely directly involved. It's not just sort of like the kind of mundane passing of things. You're seeing revolutions change. You're seeing coups potentially happening. We might be in the midst of a coup. And to say that in the United States of America, I'm not a huge fan of the history of our country and the politics and how it's disenfranchised so many people. But I would have never said that. The one thing that we have gotten right, in my opinion, is I thought we were coup-proof. Like the machination of how our democracy works kind of is coup-proof. It's not. Like our values, because of the extreme right, because of white supremacists, has evolved to such a point where we're like every other country that's destabilized. That's what it looks like is about to happen in 2 days. And I never thought I'd live to see a day where that was possible. So that's affected me physically because I'm anxious. I'm like, do I have to like prepare survival training? Like, should I be? It's just a lot of stuff.
I told you we should have been taking parkour training long ago. I'm just saying.
Says the Marine.
Hardcore parkour.
We don't do parkour in the Marines. That's a French thing. We
should.
We shoot guns. We like swing from ropes and stuff. I mean, maybe they do it now. I've been out for quite some time.
But if you guys were doing parkour, we would have still been coup-proof. I like that word. Coup
No,
proof.
because the Marines do whatever the president tells them to. So
Not if they knew parkour. What was the actual question? Oh,
how
how
has
how's
COVID,
yeah.
affected your physical health and your relationship with your physical health?
There's positives and there's negatives, right? I feel like it's a lot easier for me to set rituals than it was before. Like I have the time to be like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. But also, it's a lot easier for me to indulge in things. So it's like, yo, if you do something one night and that was like fun, like you get like a pack of cookies or something, you're like, why not? Why not tomorrow night again? Why not the night after that?
You're absolutely right. A couple nights ago, I had a brownie. I made Macau. I didn't make Macau. I'm not gonna say that. I actually like begged for a brownie for like 30 minutes, and then he was like, "I'm gonna go out and get you a brownie," and I was like, "Don't go. You've already been out today." So I was doing that whole thing, and then today I'm talking about, "Oh, I should have got that vegan cheesecake." Like, you have a dessert. You want more dessert.
Yeah, but
It's
yeah,
easier to think about, the goodness of the dessert.
I would have thought I would have gained some weight, but I feel like I'm eating more, but I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I'm not eating more. I feel like I'm eating more often, but maybe before I didn't have time to eat. I don't know.
are you eating healthier?
No, I eat healthy. I've always eaten healthy. I mean, within the last couple of years, like we cook and stuff like that. And although I do fry sometimes now, but that's only because now I have so much like time and I want to do stuff. We make a lot of cakes too, and brownies, regular brownies too. Just not.
Have y'all done any Portuguese food?
Yeah, she makes it's a lot of fish and seafood.
Yeah, because they're right on the coast. Like almost the entire country is coastal, right?
Yep, and a lot of and pork too, but mostly seafood. Yeah, it's good. And I'm probably not getting enough sun, but I don't know. I like when I was younger, I was kind of like this all the time. Anyways, I kind of stayed home. I didn't really go out like. So this is just kind of like how I used to be. Oh, I'm watching TV now. I don't know. I used to just spend all my days playing guitar, and now I do that. I feel like I'm a teenager again.
So it was a return for you. That was your transition.
I feel like I just started over.
I feel like COVID's not getting me down. I'm good.
No, it's
I
actually
even feel
great.
like your
I
hair
got a
looks different. Maybe because I
girlfriend,
don't maybe because I'm not seeing you in person, but I feel like your hair is like darker.
No, it's the same color. Maybe there's less gray.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to have a lot. Let's see.
Yeah, I feel like my I mean, since I've been in New York, I've been the lightest skin. Like I did not know I was this color at all. I was like, "Oh, I'm like extremely light skinned." I know y'all don't think of me as light skinned, but like especially being inside so much, like not tanning at all this past year, has it kind of freaked me out. It's a little strange for me. But also, yeah, I'm sedentary, just like Mikhail said, like going from 15,000 steps almost every day to barely 3,000 every day. It's very strange. And like some days I wake up and my legs are really tight. And so I've had to like consciously be like, okay, I'm going to dance. Not just stretch, not just like work out, but I have to like do more with my body to keep it from just like clamping up. Because the anxiety of what could possibly happen in the next few months can like make your body shut down and like overhaul with stress and whatnot. Are y'all getting an echo on my Mac?
Now I hear it.
It goes in and out for me.
Did something change?
I don't know. I mean, it might be picking
it's
up
gone.
on Macau's mic.
We're so far away though, and it's on my thing. I don't think so.
I don't know.
What was that? Oh, well. It's good now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep
Okay.
moving.
All right. So what has changed? Like me, I've said I've had to like incorporate more conscious movement, where before it wasn't really a problem because I was like running upstairs to get to a class, like to get to the subway to get to a class or whatever. Baxter said he has a ritual. What other things have you had to implement during this time?
I kind of move more with every movement, if that makes any sense. Since I don't move a lot, I kind of like walk this way, or I don't know. I just try to find extra little things, or like I twirl a lot. There's just like I don't know. Maybe I've lost it too, but like I'll just go there and bother Katerina a lot, and just come back for no reason. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you do that consciously, or is just like you're kind of just
I think
like,
it just happens. This kind of habit now. I just and just get up because I feel like I'll clam up if I don't move. I had a week back in September where I wasn't feeling good and I was wondering what that was, and it was because I wasn't moving. I wasn't doing anything. And so I was like, okay, no, I got to move. And so ever since then I'm like I dance a little more. And I don't dance.
yeah, I'm like, I've only seen you two-step with your guitar. It was never like a full-on dance. Like a twirl?
Yeah.
You can only dance so much on a stage, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends.
I beg to differ.
Well, on
I
that
think you
stage, on the Sylvana stage, you guys, all the musicians are like,
Pretty compact.
yeah, they got like 3 feet around them, if that.
But I don't know. It was always hard for me to move and play at the same time, though, too. I have to, like, keep it still. But I don't know. If I'm together, like when I'm on the train, I'm not together, it's okay. But when I'm moving a lot, it's kind of harder.
It's hard for me to move and play at the same time too, and not because I find it hard to do both things at once, just because I can't play. So I can move fine, I just can't play at all.
So how these changes that you've transitioned into, how has that affected your life as a whole? Like, do you feel like these things are things you want to keep doing? Like, do you like your amount of your rituals or your movement now better than before? Do you want to keep any of them going?
All the dope stuff I want to keep. I also want to keep the time. Can we have jobs that give us this much time all the time? No, we can't. But you know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like a lot of people like this pandemic quarantine made people realize how much time there is in a day and all the stuff they could be doing. You know what I'm saying? And with that, like all that's where I think like the positive rituals and things come in. And yes, I want to keep that.
Yeah, I appreciate getting my time back.
Right.
Like not being on the subway for 2 hours every day, back and forth or more. Like I've had classes where 2 hours was just one way on the subway.
Yeah. No bueno.
Yeah.
That's 4 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then sometimes like I might have like another hour ride in between classes.
Sometimes I hear about this legislation they're talking about where like employers would have to pay you for your transportation time too, because that's still like, you know, time that you're giving to the company, I suppose, or something like that. But I wonder about that because like that would drastically change like hiring processes. You know what I'm saying? Like if you knew somebody lived further away, you're like, I'm not gonna pay you an extra for just you know.
Yeah. I mean, for freelancers, it's usually part of the discussion, you know?
Right.
There are already teaching artist organizations that incorporate
The
your
travel
travel into your pay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So if
we
they
do
know
we do
it's-
that at BAM, literally, but it's over a certain amount of time. So like if you have to travel beyond a certain amount of miles, like let's say you, Dale, would have to go to like Mars Park like you do for DreamYard. If you had to use anything outside of subway transportation, they would pay you for that.
But that's like extra stuff, not like your daily work. Like whenever you have events and things like that.
It'd be
No.
daily work.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's daily work. Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you go to a class, if you're going to a class, if you're doing anything under the auspice of BAM education, in Dale's case would be DreamYard, that you get compensated. Most of the things like, but BAM is an institution that has an endowment of over $100 million with an operating budget of $50 million as a not-for-profit. So they have that money to kind of distribute in that way. We can give our teaching artists sick pay, you know, those types of things. And obviously not to the degree of a normal full-time job, but in the field that Dale and I are in as teaching artists, that's like, you might as well be getting like a full on salary because most of the time it's not that.
Macau, what would you keep from your routines and life right now?
I'm in Baxter's mode. I need my time. I really appreciate, and Dale will know this because Dale knows that I'm super particular about time in ways that she's not necessarily. I do a lot of things very quickly. I have a very set map of like what I'm gonna do in a period of time, and in my brain, I'm like, I can do all of this stuff, and I usually am successful. Um, but I'm kind of caught up doing stuff for other people, like my job. Uh, I would love to be able to kind of manage my time in the same ways in COVID, outside of COVID. And a lot of that has to do with working from home. It's interesting that you were talking about just earlier about the whole transportation thing, because I think that on one hand, yeah, there's a lot of people that are really going to get screwed over, like what Bax was saying. But I also think for some people, it actually is going to be an advantage with the realization that a lot of the work that we do, we don't need to be in a physical place other than our home, which means that if we have that ability to kind of legislate how we're doing our time, we'll be more efficient in work, and we'll probably be more fulfilled as people because we can do things that we need to do in the ways and the time that we need it. So I hope to get my time, and I'm gonna keep my Tai Chi. I like doing my Tai Chi.
Jade, what are you keeping?
Nothing. I need to get out. I feel like, I just need to get out. Because to me, I didn't have those problems of commute. I lost my way of living, basically. I'm just super grateful and lucky that miraculously I saved 6 months of benefits till this time of my military event. Like, if this had happened next year, this wouldn't have happened. But basically, I got paid for a semester of school, so I didn't have to really go back to busking. But that's over now. So now, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening now. But that's why I gotta, figure out what I'm gonna do. But no, I just don't want to work. And just playing music was just so easy that now I'm having to grow up.
Amen to not wanting to work. I don't either. I don't either.
I don't want to feel like I'm working.
Well, playing music doesn't.
That's
but
true.
I'm just not finding it on the live. It's just not the same at all. And even when I have my student, it's just even harder. I could feel like if I was in person with them, I could put your fingers where they gotta go versus me having to explain it. Little things like that.
Yeah.
That are just hard. Because I never really did this before. So I'm starting online. I never taught before. So yeah, I think it'll be easier once I get back into person. And I don't know, I'm not thinking that the world is gonna get worse. I feel like it's about to get better. Like, I don't have those fears. I feel like I was feeling that this whole year, and now I'm like renewed and refreshed that it's gonna finally get better.
Even after the coup?
I think we're paying too much attention for that. Yeah, let's just let's point the camera somewhere else. Like, I really don't think it's gonna happen. The military generals are on our side. Like, what coup? The 12, now it's 11 senators. Like, no, that's like not even most of the senators. Like, I don't understand. Like, that's nothing, and I don't really think that we should be paying attention to it. And every single time we talk about it, it's giving it attention, which is like anything. Let's focus on getting these vaccinations out, and getting people to not be scared of them, because I want to go out. I'm sorry. Like, we gotta get over this. Like, the nurses, the doctors are doing it. They wouldn't be doing it if it was bad. Like, guys, come on, let's get it done. We can do this. Like, I'm
not gonna lie. Every time someone talks about the vaccine, all I think about is Henrietta Lacks, and I think about.
But just because there's so many things that have happened, that doesn't mean. Like, I get it. Like, horrible things happen. People literally died before, and people were killed before. But that's what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to save that. We're trying to not let that happen. Like,
it's scary.
Yeah. Is it scarier than Corona? It's not to me. I want to get out there.
I want to see more people. I want to see what happens with more people. I saw this one video where the woman was talking about she got Bell's palsy from her COVID vaccination. She was a nurse.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
feel
sure
like
about
a
that
whole bunch of
either.
people are making up stories, and a whole bunch of people are looking for those stories to promote. And we
Yeah.
have to think, where is this coming from? Who? And if there was a story like that, wouldn't it be all over the news? Like, wouldn't they? Yeah, like,
I don't know. Would
Yeah.
it?
I think so, because people are looking for those stories.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I'm in between, you, Jade, and Dale, because I definitely feel like I want to rest on science. So I'm more leaning like a friend of mine asked me this directly, and I was like, I plan on taking the vaccine, but I might not be the first round. Like I kind of have a wait and see, but not because of the conspiracy theories, more because this technology is relatively new. The RNA recombinant vaccine is something that's been around for about 30 years, but it hasn't really been done before. So I'm curious about that. I have hypertension as well. But it's not like I'm thinking, oh, they're doing something to put mind control on the citizens. I'm looking at it more like the technology that we're using is new, and because we're trying to get it out quickly.
I think the worst that can happen is it's not going to be as effective as.
Yeah.
Well, this is the tough thing, right? So like, I don't know your health history, Jade, so I apologize. I don't want to assume, but like you seem like you're relatively healthy, but there's a lot of people with different types of conditions that might operate differently.
But we need enough of us healthy people to be in healthy mind to take it, to protect those people who cannot take it.
Well, but yes,
because the more people are vaccinated, the more that it won't spread. Like,
right, I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
I think not everybody has to take it, but I'm already on the list. As soon as I can take it, I'm taking it. And as soon as Katerina can take it, which she has issues, which we're kind of worried about. We've talked about that. If she is able to take it, will she take it in the very beginning? Because that is a concern for her. It's not, I don't feel like it is for me, but I'm not going to risk going out until we're both safe, because I could still bring it home to her. So.
Yeah, and that's why I said I'm in between. I definitely see myself taking the vaccine.
Yeah.
Like I
want to be first.
Yeah, but I'm reading a lot on it, and a good friend of ours, his name is Vic. He actually is a biologist. He doesn't practice biology anymore, but he studies his degree in it.
Yeah, his degree.
Yeah, and he sent me a great search engine. So like I'm reading about it. Like I think everybody needs to make an informed decision, and there's not necessarily a wrong or right decision depending on your circumstance. So like I hear you, Jade. Your livelihood, your lifestyle, you're relatively healthy, and we get vaccinated all the time. Like I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
Sure.
I've got vaccinations from hepatitis A, B. I don't take the flu vaccine, but not because I think it's going to do anything. I just don't feel like it's effective for me. But I also am like, because it's so new and because of the rush, yeah, I want to be a little bit more cautious. But if you or anyone else takes it, I'm not like, oh my God, you're going to turn into a zombie, or your whole body's going to liquidate. Like, well, I got conditions, I got circumstances health-wise. Let me see first. Let me do some reading. Let me think about it. Because now there's like 3 different types of vaccines as well. It's like, let me just be smart about it. But yeah, I'm definitely not on the like, oh, anti-vax and don't take it. But I think we all have to look at it.
I definitely don't want to wait for like herd immunization either. Like that sounds creepy
like
to
3
me.
years.
Yeah,
that'd be like 3 years.
But like I don't know. I can't shake it. Like all these like historic things that happen.
Yeah.
Like real things that happen, like floating through my brain, and I'm just very cautious around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do y'all think life will be like the next 6 months?
The same. Nothing's going to change.
Everyone waiting for summer.
I'm hoping that it's going to change in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we'll be good regardless. And Nefertiti Gold wants to know if you're still good.
These days, I'm letting go of all things above me. Things I can change and the reasons you love me. Listen, you can get the phone. I'm all over the place, I can't sit in place. I'm not ashamed.
All right, that was Nefertiti Gold with "Are We Still Good" from I Run It Silvana. And man, in the song, she's talking about a relationship that's transitioning. Like it's not necessarily ending, I don't think, but she doesn't really know what's going on. Like it's just at a crossroads. And I feel like these types of relationships really affect who we are as people. Once again, 2020 affected a lot of different relationships in a different way. Not just romantic relationships, familial relationships, platonic relationships. So for y'all, when a relationship is transitioning, I have to look at my notes, excuse me. I don't want to go out of order this time. Yeah, when relationships are transitioning, can you see the changes? Or do they just like, especially this past year, have you been able to see like something feels different?
I feel like I should go last because I got a lot on this one.
I guess so. I mean, you're asking that as a relationship is transitioning, can you see, like, are you aware of the trend, like what's changing?
Yeah. Are you able to see the change? Does it
Definitely.
depend on the person or the type of relationship?
I mean, I think I think this COVID times, quarantine times, everything is sort of exaggerated to a degree, right? Like going to the supermarket is like going to get supplies or some shit, right? So so it's like I feel like it is like people that you talk to often, you talk to all the time, and people that you don't talk to, you don't talk to in these times. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I do think. We're more hypersensitive to our relationships, and that does make everything kind of more noticeable.
Do you feel like that's affected your life? That's changed your life somehow?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't know if it's changed it for the better or for the worse. I'm not saying like I don't have an opinion on it, but it's like things are definitely different. You know, I'll tell you this much. The other day I had like a mini panic attack. I was like, do I even have any friends? Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like bugging out because I hadn't spoken to so many people in so long. You start forgetting that you have like, more than five people in your life's orbit. You know what I'm saying? Like the people you talk to is the people you talk to all the time. I talk to like maybe 10 people all the time now, where before I was talking to like at least double that, like sporadically. And 10 people all the time. That's a
That's
generous.
still a lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot.
I'm talking about, but when I say talk to 10 people, I'm like all correspondences, not like face to face or Zoom. I'm like people. I'm like texting and talking to at least just 10 people. And I work with some of those people.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I see change. I feel like I'm just like more of the same. I'm just like more of what I thought or what I let pass by. I'm letting less things slide, and I don't know. I think I'm doing better in relationships, like, but
What do you mean by better?
Well, I'm in a good one right now, so that's better.
Well, what about your other relationships, like with your family, friends? Do you feel like you're better or worse or
Well,
same?
family worse, I guess, than from when I was younger. But that's just from me being far away already. And I didn't really get closer to them during this time. So I just kind of like got farther away from everybody. Because I'm just like tired of seeing people do the wrong things. And I don't want to tell people what they're doing. So I just would rather not see it. And I'm like, I'll just know you later. I'll just.
I won't know you right now.
No, I don't. I can't handle it. I can't handle people who've had COVID that are just going out and just not caring, and then I'm related to these people. I can't. I can't. It's just really hard. I feel like I'm just more good with separating and like being good with myself. I don't feel like I need it. I don't need, and I feel like since I've been perfectly fine separated, it's just like, well, when we're back together, we'll be back together. Whoever's here. It's very morbid.
Word. Cal, what did you have to say? You said you had a lot to say.
Well, so see, we're oscillating a little bit. So talking about questions. So you asked the question, but that's not actually the question that you sent to us, which was after relationships end. So I was thinking about ending relationships, not just relationships in general. None of my COVID relationships have actually ended.
What transitioned?
Okay, well, I took your actual question.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I don't really see much of a change in the relationships that have transitioned. I think that maybe with some of my friends, actually it's become deeper because, going back to the time thing. So every Wednesday, my original crew, ESP, who I went to college with and lived in New York with for the first time, we're all married. Some of us have children. We all have careers. And we just don't get to see each other physically, let alone be on a phone or a text because running to do whatever for whomever. And being at home all the time, we figured out like, okay, we've got all this extra time. Now we can say, since we're all on Zoom anyway, we all have to be, we actually dedicate 2 to 3 hours a week on Zoom and we just kick it as if we were in the living room. And I realized how much they mean to me. I always knew because we're never that far away. We're always on a phone call away, but we don't talk regularly. Now I talk to them every week and it's like, y'all are really my favorite people. Like, and I knew this, but being in Brooklyn for 20 years and traveling the world and making a bunch of other friends and being a part of another group and other crews and, being an educator and students. And now I've got students that are in their 30s. My students are my friends. They're not my students anymore. You see all these other people that have impacted your life. I thought about that when we got married, in 2019 in the wedding, and like all of these people represent all of the things who we are.
Yeah.
But at the core, ESP, those 6 dudes, those are like my favorite people in life.
Other than me.
Other than you.
And Solomon.
Well, Solomon,
he's not people.
Well, and the only reason why is because like people who know Mikal now only know me for the things that I've done. So it's like Mikal the rapper, Mikal the teacher, Mikal who's got all these things. They saw me and were there for me at my lowest, at my most broken moments, when I didn't think I had friends, when I was broke. They were the people that were there. And anybody that knows me, I highly value loyalty. And one of my favorite sayings from Khalil Gibran, friends are your needs answered. And those needs aren't about like bigging up your ego or giving you money. It's about being a reflection of your best self, but also not casting judgment and helping you walk through difficult moments. And those 6 dudes have done that in spades for me. And it's sort of like, I don't talk to them every day. I don't talk to them every month. And now I have, and you're like, our relationship has almost been renewed because it's like, yeah, you're the motherfucker I fuck with all the time. We're 40 years old, we're older, like it's different, but like you've seen me at my best and at my worst, and how you see me and treat me hasn't changed. And I deeply am grateful for that because I couldn't do the other things that I've been able to do without that type of love. And it's been rare to find that type of love. When I think of unconditional love, that's what I think of. And I found it, or not found it, but
Experienced it
yeah,
or rediscovered?
rediscovered it in this time. And it reminded me of the things that I probably need to be reminded of because it's such a difficult time for everyone, regardless of what level or where you're at. So yeah, that's it.
Baxter, did you answer?
Yeah,
I believe so.
yeah.
Who's-
Who's first?
Am I losing my mind? This is
Yes.
my physical
Yes.
health,
Yes,
like
you are.
decreasing.
You have an answer.
I haven't answered. I don't think I see when relationships transition. I don't think I see it until afterward, and then like I analyze everything. And I try to figure out what, like if that relationship ends, and I'm really, really good with cutting people off or just like disappearing. Even if it's just like emotionally cutting off, like, okay, you were my best friend 2 weeks ago, but then you said something really hurtful, and then now we're just regular friends. Like,
if at all, I've had to walk you back from cutting people.
Yeah. Mikhail's like been like, Dale, are you sure you feel that way about this person? Are you sure? Like, maybe you should give her a call.
Walk that back. Yeah, walk that back.
So yeah, I don't think I really see it and really see the whole picture. I like zone in on the details, and that's kind of what I do in everything. And it makes me, I think, a good songwriter. It makes me a good cook because I zone in on the details, but like maybe not the best friend. Maybe. But that leads me to my next question. Do you even see when you've done something wrong? Like maybe you're the problem.
I live with a Virgo. I'm always made aware of what I've done wrong. I have a built-in person because it's true. It's real.
I think it's impossible for anybody to always see when they're in the wrong, unless they're okay with being like you have to be okay with being wrong to be aware of it all the time, right? Because like, or else you would never do it. Anyway,
do you see it and do you accept it also when you do see it?
Well, what I'm saying is like I believe for myself, I've like I'm very okay with being told that I'm wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if somebody's like explains and like, hey, you did this and this was unfair and it made me feel like this. If I understand that what you know what they're saying, I'd be like, oh, my bad, you right. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that's very valuable. But I feel like a lot of people oftentimes they don't want to be wrong, so they rationalize. But yeah, I don't know. Did I answer the question? I feel like
you
I
did.
did.
You answered the question, and I feel like my answer is virtually the same. It's sort of like I think I sometimes know when I've done something because you feel something in your body. It's mostly with someone I care about, but I don't always know. But if I'm made aware, I can take that on if I fully understand. But I think we all at some points are that way. In terms of like rationalizing a thing, I think that's part of just being human. The question is how often do you do it? And if you even acknowledge that you do it at all. But I think emotions are so high when something happens, especially if you've hurt someone that you have a care for, a relationship with. It's hard in that initial moment to be like, oh, I did something. For a lot of us, I know for me, I'll say for me it is because I I feel like I'm trying to take a lot of care to not do that. And I am aware of myself to know that I am intense. I can be harsh. Um, so I tell myself I'm mindful of that, what I'm saying, or doing what I'm doing. But I know from experience that there are times when I'm probably not. But I feel like I'm fortunate enough. I have people that love me enough to be like, dude, dial that back. Or at least be like, okay, yeah. Now that you've done this, and this, and
I'm gonna let
okay.
you finish. Next time, that's what I will say. I'm like, I'm gonna let you finish, Mikal, but
I'll see you later. Oh my god.
Around the corner.
I feel like I always try to like, I want to know what was wrong, and what, like, if it was first of all, it was a mistake or was it on purpose. That's a big deal. If you messed up and you're wrong and it was an accident, like both ways, if it was me or if it was the other person, I feel like it's to me that's easier to forgive and move on. But if it was on purpose, it's just a big difference. And most of the times, like, I don't know, I've wronged people, but it's just like, I don't know. I guess I rationalized it as like I wasn't first, And then at that point, once I get to that point, I'm like, okay, now it's time to move, because like once
if you feel like you're doing stuff for retaliation,
once you have those thoughts, then it's just like, all right, now that's not even worth my time. I don't even need to get back. I don't even need revenge. I need to move on. That's kind of like how I feel.
I get stuck there. I be wanting to get back at people from like years ago.
It's hard not to want to do that. It's really hard.
Years, y'all, from literally years ago.
I be like, if they knew how talented I am today, they would be sorry about what they did in 7th grade.
You know what I feel like that is? That's us not being okay with being hurt, right? You know what I'm saying? Like when you acknowledge that you've been hurt, like, damn, that really hurt me. It's easy to be like, oh, okay, well then now I can deal with that, right? But when you like we all want to protect ourselves. So when something like hurts us emotionally or whatever, revenge thoughts and like this anger, like that's the protection. It's like, oh, they did this to me, well, I'll get them back, and then they'll feel bad. But at the end of the day,
I won't be hurt anymore.
Right. At the end of the day, if you just realize like, yo, you know what? That hurt. And it's like, then let it go,
Yeah, that's real.
Back in 7th grade, when I didn't get picked for dodgeball, that hurt.
Back in 7th grade, or back in 8th grade, when I dumped my first boyfriend and he told everyone I was going to blow up the school.
That hurt. Dale, can I tell you though? Can I tell you though? Did they take it serious?
Yes.
What kind of 8th grader are you that if somebody says that you're going to blow up the school, it is taken as a believable threat?
I don't know.
Were you like building contraptions in lunchroom or something?
I kind of looked like Lil Bow Wow. I wore Linkin Park shirts.
That's what it was. It was definitely the Linkin Park shirts. They were like...
I guess. I was still cute though. I mean, Lil Bow Wow was a very cute girl. Not funny.
Okay. Hey, where do you go from there? As a grown man, when someone says to you, Lil Bow Wow was a very cute girl, what could you possibly respond with?
Giggles. You giggle.
I don't know about that.
Okay. So after you come to this conclusion that, or if things are transitioning, and you have your realization, like, have there been any relationships that you've personally had that have transitioned into something else, even if they've gotten deeper, and you've been able to take good things from that transition?
Yeah, definitely. All relationships.
Would you like to share something that you learned?
Okay, yeah, sure. We don't. I know we're not necessarily having to talk about romantic relationships, but in romantic relationships, right? Like one of the things I learned is, acceptance of other people's decisions, right? Like if it takes two people to have a relationship. It only takes one person to end it. All it has to be is one of those two people being like, I don't want to do this no more, and then it's done, right? And in accepting the end of a relationship, accepting somebody else's faculty to come to that decision on their own is, I think, a very mature thing that not a lot of people like have grown into. That I'm something I have that I'm happy about. Like, if you decide that it's done, that's like, we'll have one conversation about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody's like, yo, I don't want to do this no more, I'd be like, yo, are you sure about that? And if they like, yeah, it's like, all right, well, what can I do?
Yeah. So you've learned to accept things a little quicker than maybe
not everything,
quicker,
but just people's personal decisions. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, any relationship you're in is just an agreement between two people. Like, friendships is like, yes, we're gonna be friends, or you and your boss, are you both deciding like, you're employee and employer, right? And in any of those relationships, it just takes one person to be like, I don't want to do this no more.
So you would never fight for your job if you got fired? You just be like,
we'll have one conversation about it. And it depends on why I think I'm getting fired. Like, if I feel unjustly fired, that's different. You can't be like unjustly dumped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Again, like, what if they just find somebody else?
I mean, that's not unjust. It's whack.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can take that to court. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if a job fired me because I was black, right? That'd be like, yo, I'm gonna fucking sue you. That's bad whack. If somebody broke up with me for the same reason, that makes them a horrible person. But it's like, I'm not gonna, like, I can't fight that and win that in court. You know what I'm saying?
I get, if it's a divorce, like, you could take that to divorce court and probably like win you some guap, or win the divorce or something. I don't know
if racism would work. It's like, my wife is racist towards me. It's like, why didn't you marry me in the first place?
Yeah, but that's fraud. Because it's like, you knew I was black. What were you expecting? I like hoard paper. I hoard plastic bags underneath the sink, and I use Old Bay seasoning and Lowry's. I'm black.
Yo, I wonder if there's ever been a case like that. There has to have been, like, a white passing person marries a white person, and they find out that they're not white.
There's a book about it. It's called Black No More, by George Schuler. I know Black Thought was going to do a play based on it. I don't know where that development is now, but I thought it was a really great book. I don't know what Mikal thought about it. But Mikal, what do you think about,
I didn't get a chance to, well, yeah, I did read it actually. I liked it actually. I worry about Black Thought doing it as a play. I remember he did it talking about that on the Tiny Desk he was doing.
Yeah.
With all due respect, and I love Tariq, that's, Jaguar Wright's outing aside, because he got torched. But
yeah,
I love him. I don't know if he's got the gravitas to write that. I'm hoping
but he was working
writers.
with somebody.
Yeah, that's something. I hope he has writers, or he's a part. I wonder about that, especially from the political standpoint of like how things are politically. Like, I wonder about identity and blackness with that in this time in relation to like that book. I'm a little shaky on how we identifying as black in 2020, 2021 right now. We went left somewhere, and I'm still processing how I want to write about that myself. But I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking at my people like, can I bring you into the room for a second, fam? Like, we gotta talk.
I mean, you bring up, that's a good point, Mikal. Thank you for sharing. And also, like, you brought up Jaguar Wright and Black Thought's not little.
It's still going, I'm pretty sure.
Going. So Jaguar Wright airing out all these people in the neo soul movement, a lot of R&B singers. Some of the stuff I'm just like, yeah, like some of the stuff she's just like calling people out for being bi or pan, and I'm just like, why do you even care? You're pan. Like,
oh wait, I missed that part.
Yeah, her talking about Mary J. Blige and Alicia Keys being bi and stuff, and it's just like, but you're bi. Like, why are you dragging them out? Like, who cares? Like, they're not in this beef that you have. But whatever. So like, my relationship with Jaguar Wright changed. Like, now I'm really hesitant because she started just bringing up stuff that kind of seemed unnecessary to her cause. Like, I was like, I'm Like that's what I think of now when I hear her music, and it makes me not want to listen to her music. Maybe not her first album. Her first album is like an American treasure, but like the second album, all the stuff she's bringing out now I'm
It's
just like,
in that
oh.
album. Is it in that album? Basically, now that
The
you
second
know behind,
album,
yeah, now that you know the behind the scenes, you're realizing.
some of it I know is probably about like Jill Scott, like that second album, and like stuff that happened with her first husband, and things like that. Like even I was listening to Jill Scott's podcast. She has a podcast now. And she like did a shout out to her first husband. And made it seem like they're still friends. And Jaguar Wright was like, "You was cheating on that man with everybody in Philly. You were hiring men just because you wanted to fuck them, and you were singing songs every night to Lizelle."
But you know what's funny? It's interesting you just said that. I was going to say two things. That kind of brings up something that Baxter talked about often recently about being friends with your exes. And it's interesting that Jaguar would insert herself in a relationship that she doesn't really have full knowledge of. So
Yeah,
whether
sure.
or not that was true at the time, who knows? Jill Scott might have reconciled with her first husband. They might have come to some understanding. She might have grown as a person and decided there's no need for me to kind of hold on to ex, vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. It was like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to say that's necessarily true for someone like myself, but I can see how
Definitely not true for me.
yeah, I can see how other people can do that. And my whole thing is like, Jaguar, you don't know these people anymore. You're holding on to something that I'm funny. I didn't realize you felt this way about Jaguar.
Yeah,
I'm learning this.
you
I'm
know,
learning this now.
I mean, she's really been a big influence on my writing because
Well, the part
she was,
about you
yeah,
changing your feelings based
yeah,
on
that's what I'm saying. Like the fact that like I always knew she was raw, but like she kind of just coming off as petty right now, you know?
yeah. Well, I ain't gonna lie. So I gotta out Dale and I. We were definitely front row seat for like the first, I don't know, 3 days of it, because it was we're like, this is
Oh
great.
my God.
Well, yeah, listen, low
Yeah.
key, high key, I'm not gonna lie. I don't say this ever, but like I'm always amazed when I find out like behind the scenes tidbits of people's stuff, and then you hear records, and you're like, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Like,
Do y'all know about this? Like,
that's what
me
that
and
means.
Macau are talking about it. Like, but have y'all like watched these videos or know who we're talking about?
The Jaguar Wright videos, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Common and Tiffany Haddish and etc.
Went all the way in.
You know, I
So
don't
for
know.
anyone who's
Nobody's
listening and doesn't
with who.
know, like Jaguar Wright is in she was a part of the neo soul movement. She's an amazing soprano singer, sings jazz, R&B, soul. She has a very raw style of songwriting. It's very hip hop. Like she kind of braggadocio. She's very hood. Like
She is South Side
she's
Philly
South
for
Side Philly,
real.
and you can tell it from her music, even though she has this beautiful, light, airy, soulful voice. You know, very reminiscent of Shaka Khan. You know, like or a little lighter than Shaka Khan. She's like a true soprano. But it's in that vein, and then you hear her being like, "Bitch, I'll kick your ass," like it on a track. Like she's
People sleep on
amazing, but
Philly,
like
yo.
for probably like the last 10 years has kind of been off the scene. She's still been doing like the jazz scene, like doing jazz festivals and stuff. But hasn't really been trying to be in mainstream media. And last year in October, August, something like that, one of the founding members of the Roots, the band that
Oh,
many
yeah.
people know from Jimmy Fallon, who's a hip hop band. One of their founding members passed away, and they didn't want to. They made public displays of affection, Black Thought, and Questlove, but then they didn't want to like pay his funeral fees, or like they had lost touch with him when he was a drug addict, and they had lost touch with him dramatically, even though they were like still using his raps and stuff, and didn't want to pay him royalties, things like that. And that pissed Jaguar Wright off. Jaguar Wright also had a son that was murdered a few years ago, and they had not reached out to her during that time period. So she like took this as an opportunity to like just drag them. Like she told all of their business, like all of their business, including like her sleeping with Black Thought and them having a sexual relationship. Her being like Questlove is completely asexual and that's weird, which I don't think is weird.
It's
Like if
nobody's
you
business.
asexual, you know,
Yeah.
that's you, you know. but like just dragging them, like being like Black Thought used to take Homeboy's raps all the time, and then everybody else, Erykah Badu, she dragged Erykah Badu, she dragged Jill Scott, she dragged everybody. Everybody who was in that scene from like 2000 to 2006, 2007.
Got a considerable amount of attention for like low level gossipy hip hop blogs and whatnot, but nothing big happened from it.
Right. Which I'm sure people started getting interested in her first 2 albums again because they're great. The first album is gold.
Yeah, Jaguar Wright can
Amazing.
sing. She can sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she transitioned at one point from like being a truth teller and really like bringing some serious attention to some real issues in the industry to basically kind of being ignored, to Dale's point, because it did end up being petty. And I think it turned some people.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because she kind of fell into the trap of now you just sound, which is not necessarily true, but the perception now is, oh, you're just the bitter has-been who's just mad because all of your friends made it and you didn't. And that's not how the narrative started, because we are dealing in an era where like there's clear things about Me Too and toxic masculinity and harassment and assault, things we all know that happen in the industry. And we know, you know, that these things happen. And here's someone who we love and respect and we're wondering why they're not here. And they kind of were giving us like, well, here's part of the reason why I'm not around, because of the fuckery that I've been involved with and witnessed. And you kind of felt like, oh, wow, there's this sort of like breaking moment. And then she sort of like, I don't know, she just rubbed a little bit of dirt on it and you stopped listening to the message and you started looking at it from a different way. And it's unfortunate. So,
yeah. And it's like, it is a good
example. It doesn't change the
example.
factor that what Quest and Thought and Common did and what they do is fucked up. And I think that's the saddest thing. Like, we should have decided that, like, someone needs to talk to them or something.
Yeah, the biggest thing that got mainstream was her accusation against Common that like they had been sleeping around or they had been sleeping together. And she stayed at his hotel room one night. She told him she didn't feel like having sex. She was like, I just got off stage. I'm just going to sleep. So she got in bed. She went to sleep. In the middle of the night, she felt something on her face. She woke up and he was trying to put his dick in her mouth while she was asleep. My cat just tried to attack me. I don't know if y'all heard that big boom.
That's not common at all.
Jumped out of nowhere. That's not common at all. But yeah, that was like the biggest thing that got traction because everyone was like, "Who is this woman accusing Common of rape or sexual assault?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I've heard guys joke about doing that to their significant others. So like, it's not." When I heard it, I was just like, probably. And it's a good example of how relationships shift and change. But you know, we're trying so hard to get to the next level, and we're gonna get to our next video. Trying so hard from Trevi.
This song is for not just for me, but for you, for the world. Hey, first verse. Back when I didn't have too much money, you sit by my side. No food on the table.
They
Trying
was
so hard.
singing.
Singing, bitch. Sang, bitch.
Oh.
Other people sang bitch too. Not just like my album. Available on all streaming platforms and Bandcamp. So, how are y'all doing? Y'all still lively? Y'all still up? Can I get a
Yes.
yes?
Yep.
Can I
Amen.
get a hell yes?
Hell yeah.
Hell
Definitely.
yeah. All right. Definitely. I didn't ask for definitely.
You know, Dale, every once in a while, that microphone makes you sound like you're in a tunnel.
What?
Maybe it's just I'm hearing it, but like now you sound fine.
I don't know. I'll try
And
to
now you're in the tunnel
stay
again.
close. I think
you're
I'm
fine?
picking up on Macau's mic.
Maybe.
Ow.
Macau, mute.
All right, I'll mute. Hold on.
So does it sound different?
Sounds fine now.
Now it sounds good, but now he's mute.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
But
we can't hear you.
Yeah.
you guys just have to
You
decide.
don't need to hear me when I'm not talking though. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
That's true.
Okay.
All right. So
And action.
action. Oh man, trying so hard. Everyone's been trying so hard. We talked a little bit about man, I mean it's New York. We're used to hustling and shit, but now like the hustle has been postponed. But how's that affected y'all financially? And you don't have to give like numbers or anything, but like are you blessed or are you stressed during this trying time?
Went from stressed to blessed.
Stressed to blessed? Is that because of the refund check or whatever check?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I was gonna say. I didn't want to cut you off back. That's my
No.
answer. Stressed to blessed. Stressed to blessed. That's it.
I mean, yeah, I'll say things have been better, but like it's hard to say that things have been better in the middle of like a collective tragedy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it's like if the world ended, but like you were doing really good looting. I guess that's an extreme. It's
reselling
like
all the stuff you stole from
right. Yeah, I'm not even saying like
Hermes.
I'm not even doing anything like that was the wrong example. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying it feels hard to feel good when collectively everybody's feeling bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to be like, it's hard to count the things that are better and be like, yo, I feel like I'm in a better place, knowing that like there's people who are sick and dying, and there's people who, you know, might not be able to pay rent, and you know,
Damn.
I'm trying so hard to survive. Is what I'm saying.
That was bad.
I went from stressed to blessed to I mean, early in the year before COVID, I was kind of just like making it, and then I basically was able to make the same amount without having to work, and then it just changed me a little bit. But I don't know. I'm ready to get back. Honestly, I'm tired, and I'm not. You know, not that I was collaborating that much before, but now I'm not like at all. It's all just you know me being solo, playing my guitar and piano. But
Yeah.
practicing drums, so
That's good. You
Baxter,
can always join Batala.
Baxter, I feel like you have a version of what I feel like I have, like a survivor's guilt. Like I was furloughed for several months and wasn't sure. There was a real moment where I might not have been going back to work.
Yeah.
But because of the situation that I'm in, it actually evened out and then some.
Yeah.
But I know like so many of the people that I'm around with, including my wife, don't
Right.
have that. And you're like, you want to be like, yes, but you're like, but everybody
you wanna
else is shitty.
You want to keep it low, like yes.
right. And not because I don't think people are going to judge me or anything, but it's more
Right.
like it feels whack.
It's an internal thing, right? Yeah, because right, exactly.
Hey guys, look how great I'm doing while everybody's
Right.
you know, struggling.
Because like, you know, not for nothing, like I found myself in like I have more time and to do things that I wanted to do, right? So I've built a home studio and everything, and like it's even hard to be like to tell people about that because some people their situation is they can't even get to how they used to do music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So someone's like, man, I haven't been to the studio in a while, to be like, well, I just bought a Focusrite Scarlett. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I'm getting busy in COVID, yo.
right. Right.
But that's how I always felt with like life in general. I feel like now everybody's feeling that way, but I
Mhm.
never like, I don't know, wanted to brag. Mainly because whenever you have something, I don't know.
It's not about the bragging. It's just even like talking about it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Right.
it's one thing to like, if you're around people who are hungrier than you to talk about like the last meal you ate, even if you're
Yeah.
not bragging about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
Well, that's what I mean, but it feels like it.
right.
Even when you're not. You're just talking about regular stuff. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
like sometimes when my computer died at the beginning of COVID, and then I had an external hard drive, like kicked the bucket, and I was able, because of certain circumstances, get those fixed. Where it's like I usually don't. I mean, I feel like I'm never really like struggling, but I never really just have like money sitting around. I'm pretty average American, like most Americans. But because of certain circumstances, I was able to like get a new computer, like get a bigger computer, a faster computer. And I was able to get like a bigger, faster external hard drive and get my old external hard drive fixed. Well, not fixed, but I got all the stuff off of it. So I have access to everything, all my stuff now.
Oh,
And
wow,
it's
that's dope.
like, yeah, and I got we bought new monitors for our home studio. And so some people are like, "You got all that fixed? Like in COVID?" I was like, "I didn't really I mean,
yeah, I mean, if your money wasn't really affected by, or even if it just went down a little bit, we're not out as much. We're not paying for,
yeah.
transportation. We're not eating out as much because we're able to eat at home and it's cheaper. You might want to go order, but it's still not the same as it used to be. Where, when you sit down in a restaurant, it's just more expensive than when you take out.
Yeah.
Um,
But I
but
was like ordering clothes online cuz I don't really have lounge clothes like that. Like I don't like dress down
you
like
bought
that.
clothes for COVID.
I did. At the beginning of COVID, and like Mikhail was just like, "Is that another package?"
Y'all.
I
Like
bought
she
nothing.
getting all the
You
money.
don't out yourself too hard. No, but all jokes aside, like all jokes aside, I think the tough thing, right, is like everybody's circumstances are different. It always goes back to
Mhm.
that, right? And we're not in a situation where we know everybody's
Yeah.
circumstance. So it's tough to be like, oh, for whatever reasons, my circumstances worked out in this particular way. Um, but you want to be sensitive and mindful of everybody not having that. And I think what you described, Dale, is typical, where it's just like a lot of people before COVID weren't prosperous, but they weren't struggling. So it's that weird in between
Yeah.
where I don't know what that was.
You said something wrong. It was like the technology gods coming to stop you.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. All right, anyway, that ain't gonna stop me. But yeah, so I think it's tough, and it's hard to even have that conversation even when situations aren't crazy. When people say like, "Well, how are you doing this?" and you're, a teaching artist. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you don't know what contingencies I've done, savings I've had, etc.
Yeah.
People I know, whatever. But I think because generally we're all sort of dealing with something really, really tough. It's tough to kind of speak about it. Which ironically, you would think like that would be an opportunity for hope, where
Yeah.
people can be like, oh, but it is that mindfulness of knowing like I don't want to look like I'm like out here like throwing my prosperity in your face. So I'm just gonna lay low on that.
Yeah. And it's not like there weren't sacrifices made. I definitely like didn't invest in certain things because I was like, well, I moved to New York to be a songwriter, and so I need to invest in this and this and this. This has to be done. And Mikhail even had to talk me into getting my external fixed. I was like, well, I just lost it. It was something. Was it my external?
It was your external, and I talked you into getting everything. Actually, if we're being honest, I
Not
talked
the
you
computer, right?
No, I talked you into the computer too. I talked you into the tablet, and then you decided on the computer, because my whole
With the
thing was
tablet I got before my computer died. I was like so excited about Logic and the
okay.
Logic remote.
Okay, we got to tell this story now. Okay, so really quick, everything that Dale had technologically died. It failed. Like laptop failed. Her amplifier that she did.
Yeah.
anything that was electronic that she owned failed. And as we know, her whole livelihood is via her equipment. So I was like, baby, spending the money on this is not frivolous. You can't make money if you don't have these things.
Meanwhile, buying sweatsuits on Shein.
That
Frivolous.
stuff, right? That stuff. I'm like, baby, what are you doing? But whatever, it's cool. Solomon still has food. We're fine. Cat's alive. My new gauge of life now is the cat okay? Did we buy him stuff?
He's pretty picky.
He's fucking.
Listen, I got two cats. But yeah, but there's always a difference between like spending money for things that seem like they should be I don't know, luxuries, I guess, and like things that like you don't look at, like, you know, like I always, when people are always like hesitant to spend money on things, right? They'll be like, oh, you're gonna do a ticket to a show? Oh, that's how much is that? $20? Oh no. It's like, yo, you would spend $20 at the bar and never think about that $20 ever again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people find the value. People have it's perceived value. Like, even because like I bought a microphone, I bought and a couple of other pieces of equipment for my home studio, and like, you know, these are things that cost hundreds of dollars, right? But it's like, if it was if it was that same amount of money for something else, I wouldn't be so hesitant, or I wouldn't be so like, you know, whatever. Like, if somebody says, oh, this plane ticket is going to be like $200, I'd be like, oh, well, how else am I going to get there if not on a plane? Like, you know,
or for a winter coat, and we live in New York, so it's like, oh, well, $400 for a winter coat,
right? But like, you know, what's the difference? Like, I'm going to get a microphone and I'm going to use it, and it's going to be highly advantageous to me, but for some reason it still feels like I should be more cautious about that purchase than like a winter coat or like a plane ticket.
Right, but that's the thing, like you said, Baxter, like you got a home studio because you're now a TV broadcasting studio.
Something like that.
Right.
We're doing a lot.
You're doing a whole lot. So it goes back to the whole thing where it's just like it's a necessity, especially in a time like this, because you can't go somewhere that has its own equipment. Right. You have to have those things in order to do what you need to do to maintain. So it's just a weird, it's that weird thing where it's like whatever sacrifices you might have had to make, or just doing what you needed to do, or coming into the things. Like, I'm not out here, you know, chilling in a brand new like 3-bedroom apartment by myself, and I'm, you know, dressed to the nines and just buying caviar and shit. It's like, no. These circumstances required me to make that commitment so that I can kind of do what I got to do. And that's what I was trying to explain, or I did explain. She got it today. I was like, you're not being extra. Like, your 7+ years of everything you've ever produced is on that hard drive. Save that shit. Get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't feel bad about that. Like, that's your whole life on that thing. Go get it.
Word. What are y'all, were there any frivolous purchases from y'all? And if this is not one of the questions on the sheet, but I really wanted to ask this because Roberto De Jesus posted on Facebook. I asked, what are the questions you're asking yourself to get through these transitions of this year? And he said, like, can I afford to like keep spending money in COVID? And it's like, did you feel like you did any type of frivolous spending? And is that going to change in the new year? Because I feel like we still eat out kind of a lot, like, for the circumstances.
In the beginning of COVID, definitely not. In the very beginning, when we first went into the lockdown, I was saving everything because you didn't have any idea of what it was going to be like, right? But now I'm a bit more comfortable. I'm a bit more like confident on the options that the future might hold, right? Like, at the beginning of it, it's like, who the fuck knows? This might be the end of America as we know it, right? We have no idea how deep this is going to go. Now I'm like, all right, worst case scenario is a lot of people get sick and we have to shut down again. And it's like, and I can plan for that. So it's like, I know I can spend a little extra money here or there as long as I'm saving like this amount or whatever. But yeah.
Did you have to relearn how to save?
No, I'm not
You're
great.
frugal.
I'm not great at saving, but I'm aware. That's the sound that lets you know you're lying. No,
You're lying.
Yeah.
Wrong again.
No, I'm not great at saving, but I'm definitely like better at it than I've I guess ever been before. Like I pay all my credit cards on time. I do save a set amount like every paycheck. It's not like what I think I should be saving if I was super responsible, but it's enough, you know? So I didn't have to like relearn how to save. It's just more adjusting my mind into what I'll allow myself to spend money on. You know, like at the beginning of COVID, there was no such thing as Seamless. There was no such thing as any of that. Now it's like, cooking more often than not. But if I come in and I'm tired, I'm like, I can have somebody bring me a fucking some Thai food tonight, like, you know.
Yeah, you're still doing the long commutes. You had a long commute today.
No. It's about 45 minutes. It's not that
okay,
long.
that's not bad.
That's a little long, but Dale's got the mega commute for 2 hours. I also just want to quickly jump in and interject and protest. We're not eating out more. One, we're on vacation.
For another couple days, yes, we were on vacation.
Yes, and I'm going to milk the hell out of that. As the family accountant, we have not been eating out necessarily more.
That sounds like a loophole. Where's the jackhammer?
Yeah. hey.
That's like one of those things where you're like, technically, like if somebody sees dishes in the sink and they say, "Hey, did you wash the dishes last night?" Well, whatever. I'm fucking up this whole thing. But
wait, the skillet's dirty. Okay.
When I'm talking about people when it's technically not right.
I think I've used that once. I might have used that.
It's like if somebody says,
"Well, we had the cast iron skillet." I don't want to clean that. I don't.
No, actually, to be a real talk, I'll be like, "Baby, there's no food to eat." She's like, "We've got beans, we've got rice, there's quinoa. I can make Brussels." Like they'll be like, "We got food." But I'm like, "No, we don't. We don't have food." But yeah, anyway, this isn't about our life. Anyway, continue. You go.
Oh, I think I was done.
We definitely have hope for the future and hope that we will, prosper in the future. But Nicole Quindo has a quick side note for hope. So we're going to hear that now.
Awareness Day. Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, well, for me, that's every day. But I think it's perfect. So I'm going to start off with a poem. It's called Quick Side Note for Hope. I'm standing on the sidewalk right next to my broken soul with a few words that I'd like to share with you. Ever notice how the stars turn white in the night and guide you towards your fairy tale dream? I got some pain, but I'm trying to figure out what's God's plan for me. Because these thoughts in my head are pretty scary. And this feeling in my chest is pretty wary. Take a walk in my shoes for a day, bitch, you wouldn't think I was so cool shit. I bet you run the moment you see the demons I hide inside my Bible. And no, this isn't about survival. More like hope. I drowned in my own bloody tears as I cope, but refuse to scream out for help. This is depression. I'm just trying to paint a picture of how it felt, and still deal with daily. Call me crazy, but I like to feel the pain when it's cold and rainy. And my mind is all hazy from this cannabis smoke that I tell on. My mind is so gone, but I'm so on 100. I feel my time is coming. And that's why I didn't leave that night and try to take my own life. God had a plan. He's just waiting for me to figure out who I am. So, still I stand. Thank you.
Yeah, so that was Nicole Quindo, who actually just, right before the isolation started, she transitioned to Dallas from New York. She's originally a New Yorker, native New Yorker, but she's in Dallas now. So, I think shutdown started, she was only there less than a month. I remember talking to her being like, "Oh yeah, we had to meet up for South by Southwest," and then no South by Southwest. So shout out to her for making that big leap, and she's doing really good, it seems, so that's great. I know some people have come back. Dama came back from Austin, right? She's in Brooklyn, or did she go back?
No,
she came for a little while and then she
came to visit her mom, I think.
Yeah, I think she's in Austin. I think Austin's treating her very well.
Now she wants to come back, but you know.
Oh, word?
I mean, there's if you're a New Yorker, there's no place like New York. No matter how great the weather is, no matter how much closet space you get, there's still a thing inside of you that's like, I wish this was Brooklyn.
I don't know. I could take some closet space.
You're from South Carolina. That's
I miss the closets. But first, let's talk about like mental health. What is healthy mental health for you in general? For me, it's like calm, being able to process the things that are happening around you with the level of calmness. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Being in control, I suppose, of myself is, I think, good mental health. Like not making decisions based off of fear and anxiety and stress. Making decisions based off of like what's actually the best decision to make or the decision that I most want the outcome of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the balance between the different emotions that I might be experiencing at a given point, and not to just to be grounded in that, and not to project, being aware of the things that affect me and finding the way to sort of like safely walk myself back and through some things when possible.
Basically, like knowing you're in charge, of yourself.
Okay, I was like, of other people, of the world?
of yourself and your
Jade's
actions.
taking over.
Jade's
knowing that I'm in charge.
Jade's like, I'm a boss. That's how I know shit's right, when I'm the boss.
No, but yeah, and being responsible and just knowing that you're in charge. You make it, you're responsible for the decisions you make. We're not children anymore.
Do y'all feel like y'all felt that way the last 10 months? I definitely have not felt calm, but I'm embracing it.
I've had many laugh attacks, and by laugh attacks I mean we laugh so hard that we cry, a lot. It's hilarious. But actually, it was more in May and in May and April. We've had less now, but in the beginning there was lots of laughing that turned into crying, that turned back into laughing. It was just like emotional attacks. But we just laugh. That's it. And
laugh to keep from crying, but then end up crying anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm okay because I think it could have been worse. Like I don't think I dealt with this time the best, but I'm gonna give my credit because I feel like there's things that could have definitely gotten a lot worse than they could have. So I feel fortunate for that, and I credit some of that, not all of it, but a lot of it to I was able to start therapy about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and that was helpful for me. But yeah, I think, I don't know. It feels weird when I say things like that. I'm sort of like, Dale is sort of my, like I said, I mean, I made the joke earlier, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of like my immediate check. When you're in a relationship or committed relationship, personally, I feel it's kind of a barometer to some degrees of where you are, because the sort of liveliness and state of things kind of exists around how everybody's doing. So
yeah,
when Solomon's just not like talking to me, and Dale's like somewhere else, it's like I should probably think about what's going on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, our emotions have definitely bounced off each other, sometimes not for the best of reasons, but we're good. I'm really proud of that.
No, yeah, I was like, we're good. I still only want to be quarantined with you. But I think if we're wholly honest, I think it's not healthy for any relationship, even in the most amazing, loving relationship, to be forcibly with that person without any other contact. Yeah, 24.
Yeah,
it's not.
That's the quickest way. That's the quickest way to get you to hate somebody, no matter who that person is. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
So,
but yeah, I agree with everybody. I definitely have been at some places more stable than I've ever been, and in other places less so. Right, like
Mm.
feeling myself. I'm like very much feel my as myself as I have ever have. Musically and artistically, I feel like very uh what do you call it, nurtured, right? Socially though, it's very anxious, you know what I'm saying?
I knew
And
you were feeling good musically because you're wearing a pinky ring. I
eh,
just feel like
um socially very anxious, personally, and in that respect, like I'm a very social person, and like as we all are as artists, you probably don't even realize it, but the amount of people that you meet like on a weekly basis is way more than most people. Like
yeah.
a lot of people, their lives are boiled down to like very set routines. They get up, they go to work, they might do something after work, and they go home. Right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you meet this a lot. Doing that, you meet a lot of the same people over and over again. But living in New York and being an artist, you go outside, you pass 50 new people. You might talk to two of those people. Like
Yeah.
you host an open mic, that's like about 20 people every show, right? You busk on the trains, like all that, like
Yeah.
and to go from like that level of interaction to like the set amount of people that I'm interacting with now has definitely like shaken my sense of myself socially,
Yeah. Jade's good.
Well, it's noisy over here, but they stopped, I guess. Um, but I think I already talked about mental health.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm from Texas, where everybody like says hi to you, like everywhere. Like you pass by anyway,
Yeah.
hi, 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 hi. And then I moved to New York, and I'm actually not that social person. So in Texas, it kind of was a little too much for me. Then when I come to New York, I find out that people do not say hi to you. They just like will let you right by. They won't even look at you. And I'm like, I can be invisible here. Like this is kind of interesting. And then I chose not to be invisible. I don't know what. I chose to like be the center of wherever I go on the train. And then yeah, I don't have that intention at all, and I feel like nobody's looking. But I don't know.
That's one of the things that I missed when I moved here. I missed people just saying, reciprocating the hi. Like when I worked at Birdland, I would stand outside during shows because we are supposed to stop people before they come in if there's a show going on. So people can't just walk in throughout the show. Um, and so I would sit outside and someone would walk by in a cute outfit and I was like, "Oh, girl, I love your shoes." And they just look at me like, like, "Oh, you don't like your shoes?" Like, what? Like, "Oh, hi.
Yeah,
Hello."
I think
And
people
yeah. I would hardly ever get a response.
I
Like,
think
go
people
ahead.
underestimate like how social we are as human beings, or how the need we have to be social. Because even though the saying hi
Mhm.
and getting a response back, like is deeply impactful in a little way, right? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And part of the trauma of being destitute or homeless is the mental impact of people ignoring you, right? Like when
Yeah.
you are homeless or you start like smelling, or you start like looking disheveled, and like people stop making eye contact, people definitely aren't like touching you or like hugging you, and like that mentally takes a toll on people. And
Yeah.
it's a I don't have any of you ever done cold calling?
Kinda. Like,
Yeah.
I've done cold emails, not like actually
so
picking up the
so
phone.
cold email, it's not like cold. If you ever done cold calling, I used to work for like a brokerage firm, and I used to scout their leads. So they would get like a thing full of
Mm.
leads, and I would call these people and see how interested they were in purchasing stocks, right?
Mm.
You get hung up on a lot, obviously. The like even knowing it's not personal, even knowing that I don't know these people, to be hung up on over and over again is like a psychological form of torture. It's such an infuriating feeling to be in the middle of a sentence to realize that someone has hung up on you.
Yeah. Well, with all our varied experiences, like what advice would you have for people who are listening and are kind of like, I don't feel calm, I don't feel together, I don't feel in charge, I don't feel these things. Like we're looking at least another 6 months inside. What can we say?
Unprofessionally, just be kind as much as possible to
Hmm.
yourself. Just try to be kind. Don't try to take too much on responsibility wise. What's happening is much bigger and greater than any one individual doing something. And it just try to, however that looks for you, just try to be kind to yourself, and don't take more responsibility than you're due.
Yeah,
Exercise.
that
Like
is a good. Yeah, that's a good advice.
people think of exercise as just a way to like get a nice body, but it's also very much connected to your mind. Like
Mhm.
you'd be shocked how a couple of days of like just regularly exercising will have you thinking clearer and feeling more yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say like just a little more routines and just, you know, cleaning the house. To me, that helps too. But just find things that you can be in control of, because there are things for you to be in control of. And when you feel that you're in control of those things, then you feel better in your own little world. But then just hang in there because it's not over.
yeah. That's how I kind of feel. Like it's not over, and it's okay to have a bad day. But every day is different, and sometimes we do have to just embrace the suck, because if we don't embrace the suck, like the good days, we're not even going to notice. So like when the good days happen, like really embrace those and then learn what you can from the bad days. Like last night, I couldn't sleep at all. I kept having these like things from years past just like tramping through my head, like literally just like stumping through my head. I like my watch didn't even recognize that I slept. That's like my Fitbit. There is no sleep data from the last 24 hours on my Fitbit. So like it's just like, that was something I need to think about. It was just something that I need to think about. And I used to meditate it away and kind of like bypass it, but I just accept that that's what my mind went to, and I need to know why for whatever reason. And once I figure out why, if I think about these things again tomorrow night, I'll write down why I think I need to think about these things over again. I think I have my reason, but everyone has bad days. Everyone has like regrets or whatever, and feels out of control sometimes. And tomorrow is going to be different. Right now, I don't feel that way. So that's how I feel. Acceptance is the first step in overcoming anything. So, what's one thing each of us would like to accept going forward as we transition through this to this new year? What are you accepting?
Opportunities. I, I'm accepting. No, nah. It's all about.
Paychecks.
You're right. Exactly. It's not really about I can't. Maybe this is like I don't know how to frame it as acceptance, but just uh, preparedness for whatever comes next. You know what I'm saying? It's like planning for things to be unplannable. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. You know what I'm saying? But like
Planning as much as possible for the unforeseen. For
right, exactly.
Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, to something to that extent, like knowing that the future, like, could be us just transitioning incrementally back into like the way things were, knowing it could be like never that way again and something completely different could be coming, knowing we could be heading for another shutdown, just like planning for all of those options or any one of those options. That's what I've accepted.
Yeah, accepting opportunities and diversifying, taking different jobs.
Accepting that you have to get a job.
Accepting that I have to get a job. But I was just fine with different streams of revenue. I don't know. Now I gotta work. I gotta go back. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It is. It's fine. This moment might suck, but you might get a job that you love.
Then
it won't
I
suck.
like. So that's the idea. Get something that I like doing.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you so much to our panel and anyone who's watching, listening, streaming, whatever, what have you. I'm Dale Novella. I've been joined by Jade Zabrick, founder of Sky's Crescent Radio, CEO.
Yeah,
Like,
and you can
head
get a
bitch in
podcast just like
charge.
this. And yeah, we'll grow with the network.
Yes. Thank you to Jade. Thank you to Mikal Amin, hip hop aficionado, world traveler, savior of black babies, black and brown babies all over the world. And the hostess with the mostest, Baxter Wordsworth. Thank you so much.
Hey.
Good night, everybody. This has been the Pod Will Be Televised podcast.
Peace, peace, peace.